We're off again, once again. Early morning, only 7 o'clock right now. We left about 6:30. And we're headed for Vancouver, Burnaby in particular. And this is the first highway I've ever traveled on that's had a speed limit of 120. I could say any highway in Canada. Some of the American ones, maybe. Yeah, it's possible they're that speed. Anyway, pretty unique. I don't think I'll be traveling at this speed for very long, though. It's pretty fast and fuel wasting, but fun to try for a little bit. So I think we've probably gone through an area where there's been a forest fire again. Got a lot of green growth on the ground, which is low, but the trees are all blackened again. Yeah. Portion of the highway with its 120 kilometer speed limit feels to me a little bit like the highways in New Zealand did, where they were very fast and going around corners, so you're leading with a centrifugal force. And I kept thinking, this speed is way too high for this road. But I guess New Zealanders feel that they should have the right to go pretty fast on highways as much as anybody, even if the topography doesn't support that idea. And 120 seems fast for me. That's why I'm doing 110 along. Try to go around it. Vancouver sunshine.
As we headed for Burnaby, a sudden desire gripped me. We would be passing the town of Chilliwack, named after the Halkamalum name Chilliwack, for the place which is the farthest you can go upstream with a paddle. Here had been Canadian Forces Base Chilliwack. I had briefly been an officer cadet in the Armed Forces in 1977 and had been stationed at CFB Chilliwack. At the time, I had been married to Ramona for just a little over a year. She had joined me in British Columbia with our 2 dogs, Prince and Diamond. But eventually I had come to understand the life of a naval officer, often away from home for months at a time, wasn't going to work for me. I was miserable. By May, the school had already rejected over the prior 2 months those who weren't suitable for the job, and it was assumed that anyone still in the course had a military future. So it was with some consternation the staff learned that I wanted to voluntarily withdraw. The wheels slowly began turning, and I was relocated to a Hotel Coqualeetza, where warehoused personnel awaited their release. I have almost no memory of the hotel except that it was off the base, was a rather large old stone or brick building, and we were bussed into the base daily to do odd jobs like secretary as required. After a few weeks, my release was authorized and I returned to Toronto with Ramona and our dogs. To this day, if I sing the song Hotel California, I still substitute the words Hotel Coqualeetza, as we did in 1977 when the song was new. The Hotel Coqualeetza now became a mild obsession for me. Did it still exist? What did it look like? Would I remember it? Ramona and I had revisited the site of CFB Chilliwack some years after it had closed, but while the parade square and obstacle course still existed, I had never tried to track down the old hotel then. Now the base is 99% gone, replaced by housing. Perhaps the military museum in town would know something. Okay, we're in Chilliwack at the moment on a rather fruitless quest here. I want to get some information about a Hotel Coqualeetza, which is where I ended up after leaving Canadian Forces Base Chilliwack and their officer candidate school. They would take the people who weren't going to be sticking with the program and put them in this Hotel Coqualeetza. It was an old building then, if I remember correctly, so I really don't know too much about it, but I'm trying to track down some info. I've got a little bit of information. The people who might know are here at the military museum, but it is closed today, and a gentleman whose phone number I have probably might know that information, but he's not picking up his phone. It's too bad this place is closed today, because I could have gone in and asked somebody and probably had some information. But anyway, a lady in the bookstore near here was still living here in the 70s, and she had heard of the Hotel Coqualeetza, and she says she thinks it was right beside the base in Vedder Crossing. So we're going to go down to Vedder, which isn't too far away, and see if any of those old hotels still live. The base is closed. It's been closed for quite a while now, and all the old facilities have gone, and all there is at the base now is a new subdivision. But some of the old buildings still remain, so we'll take a look. Well, got some info.
Well, that's good.
Okay, I'll tell everybody here. So we're here at the only military type building that you can see in front of us here. It's an armory, Forces Armory. So I went up to the front door, and of course it's locked and there's nobody there, but there's these buttons you can push. So I started by pushing the first one. The first button in the list, nobody answered. And they're all like departments that just have acronyms or whatever, you know, it's impossible to tell. And there's definitely no kind of here's who you want to talk to. So I went at the second button, a guy answered, and I told him I was a civilian just looking for some information about the old base. And so he said, oh, hang on a minute. So he came out and he opened the door for me and he brought me in to an office there where there were a number of officers in camouflage fatigues, and they were, I told them the story, and nobody seemed to know very much of anything. They saying, oh, the oldest guy here was, he arrived in the 90s, and the base was already decommissioned at that time or something, and so he didn't know. And then guy in another office had his door open, and he goes, Coqualeetza? Like that. So he comes walking out, and he says, yeah, I know it. He says, yeah, it used to be the place where they would put guys and stuff. And I said, yeah. So he told me that it's now been torn down a couple of years ago, but we know where it used to be. So we're going to go take a look at that now. It's kind of exciting. I'm glad nobody shot me for coming into this defense-sensitive area without authorization. But they were all very, very friendly, helpful. So that was 10, whatever I said, 10 something.
50, 10:48.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I understand this quest means nothing to you, and it means nothing to me either. This is a story about nothing.
The helpful officer indicated I might find the end of my search at the gift shop of the Coqualeetza Community Center a few kilometers away. The search was narrowing. At the gift shop in the Stalo Nation, we finally found the truth and had proof courtesy of the knowledgeable staff. Hotel Coqualeetza was never a proper name, but a nickname for the barracks housed at the Coqualeetza Indian Hospital. Established in 1942 in one of the former, now fiercely maligned, residential schools for Indigenous children, it functioned as essentially a tuberculosis hospital. The hospital closed in 1969. The former hospital and former nurses' residence became a barracks for the armed forces. In 1994, the old hospital reportedly was renovated into a modern administration building for the Stalo Nation. From my memory, it seemed sure that I had been housed in the main hospital building. My search was over.
So this building here, this old building is used to be the nurses' residence, and this was one of the buildings that was used as a dormitory. So it was either this building where I was housed briefly, or it was the hospital building itself, which no longer exists. And that is the end of that. We are off. Find a way out. That's 11:22. Wow, to think, Mona, that my search started this morning trying to find a Hotel Coqualeetza and discovering there is no such a place. There never has been such a place. And it was actually a slang term for